When the world feels too loud and you feel too small. There are moments in life when the world suddenly becomes louder than your thoughts. Your heart begins to race, your breath becomes tight, and a heavy pressure rises inside your chest as if the whole universe is watching you, waiting for you to fail. In these moments, even simple things feel impossible. Your hands shake when you try to speak. Your mind forgets the words you already know. Your confidence disappears, and you wonder, why can't I stay calm like other people? But here is a truth most people never hear. Even the calmest person you know has felt this same wave of fear. The difference is not in their courage. The difference is in their training. They learned how to breathe when the world becomes heavy. They learned how to think slowly when their mind speeds up. They learned how to walk through pressure instead of running away from it. And you can learn it too. Calmness is not magic. It is not personality. It is a skill. A beautiful, powerful skill that grows inside you every time you decide to face a difficult moment instead of avoiding it. You do not need to be fearless. You only need to know how to guide your fear. This story will show you how to stay steady in moments that shake others. It will teach you how to build an inner stillness so strong that no pressure, no exam, no conversation, no challenge can break your balance. Because calmness is not the absence of fear. Calmness is the courage to breathe through it. Chapter 1. Pressure is not the enemy. Most people grow up believing that pressure is dangerous. They think stress is something that breaks you, fear is something that weakens you, and tension is something you must avoid at all costs. But the truth is almost the opposite of what we are taught. Pressure itself is not the enemy. In fact, pressure is often a sign that you are standing at the edge of something meaningful, a dream, an opportunity, a challenge that could change your life. The real enemy is not the pressure itself, but the story your mind tells you about it. When you stand in a stressful situation, your brain activates an ancient system called fight or flight. This mechanism was created thousands of years ago when humans lived in forests and mountains, surrounded by real physical dangers, predators, storms, hunger, and uncertainty. Back then, this system helped people stay alive. When danger appeared, the body reacted instantly. The heart beat faster to pump more blood, the breath shortened to prepare for quick movement, the muscles tightened to increase strength, and the senses sharpened. This reaction kept our ancestors safe. But modern life is different. Today, maybe you are not running from wild animals, but your brain still reacts the same way to everyday challenges. A presentation, an exam, a difficult conversation, a job interview, or even speaking in English with someone new. Your brain does not know the difference between real danger and imagined danger. It only knows that something important is happening, and it prepares you to face it. This is where calm people stand out. Calm people are not calm because they feel less pressure. They are calm because they interpret pressure differently. They look at the same physical sensations, fast heartbeat, warm hands, tight chest, and they give them a different meaning. Instead of saying, something is wrong, they say, my body is preparing me to perform. Instead of thinking, I'm scared, they think, this energy will help me focus. They see pressure as information, not a threat. They see stress as energy that can be used, not a sign of weakness. When you begin to understand that pressure is simply your body's way of preparing you for something important, everything shifts. You no longer fight your own biology. You stop trying to shut down your stress and instead, you learn how to ride it. You stop seeing pressure as an enemy and you start seeing it as a partner, a powerful force that wants to help you rise to the moment. And that shift, that simple change of interpretation, is the first step to becoming extremely calm under pressure. It is the moment when fear loses its power and your inner strength begins to awaken. Chapter 2. The Art of Breathing Before the Storm. Before every great performance in history, before the runner steps onto the track, before the surgeon picks up the scalpel, before the pilot takes off, before the actor walks onto the stage, there is a quiet moment that almost no one notices. A moment when the world is loud, but the person remains still. A moment when the heart beats fast, but the face stays calm. A moment when everything depends on one simple thing: the breath. Breathing is the oldest skill we have, and yet the one we forget the most. We breathe all day without thinking, but when pressure arrives, our breath changes instantly. It becomes shallow, fast, uneven. This signals danger to the brain. Your nervous system begins to panic because your breath is saying, something is wrong. And once your brain believes there is a problem, your emotions follow, your decisions weaken, and your calmness disappears. But here is the beautiful truth. If the breath can create panic, the breath can also create peace. Every powerful performer in the world knows this. They understand that breath is not just air, it is control, clarity, and stability. When your breath is slow, your brain receives a different message. You are safe. You can think clearly. You can handle this. One of the simplest techniques to calm your nervous system is called the physiological sigh. It mirrors what your body naturally does when you cry or when you finally calm down after stress. You take one long, deep breath through your nose. Then, without exhaling, you take a second shorter breath to fill the lungs completely. Then you exhale slowly, longer than your inhalation. This pattern lowers stress levels almost instantly. It is your body's built-in reset button. Another powerful method is box breathing, used by elite soldiers, athletes, and professionals who must remain sharp under extreme pressure. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold again for 4 seconds. This square of breath stabilizes your heart rate, slows your thoughts, and gives your mind space to think. It is like building a small protective room around your nerves. You cannot stop pressure from entering your life. You cannot stop your heartbeat from rising when something matters. But you can choose how your body responds. When you control your breath, you control your emotions. When you control your emotions, you control your actions. And in the storm of life, when everything moves fast, when everything feels heavy, your breath becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. Before every storm, there is a breath. And that breath is your beginning of calm. Chapter 3. The Power of Slow Thinking in a Fast Moment. Pressure has a way of speeding up everything inside you. Your heart pounds faster, your breath becomes shorter. Your thoughts begin to race like a storm of worries crashing into each other. In these moments, the mind becomes a fast-moving machine, jumping from one fear to the next, imagining every possible mistake before anything has even gone wrong. You start thinking about the worst outcome, about what people might say, about how badly things could turn out. This fast thinking creates a sense of urgency and danger, even when there is no real threat. It turns a small challenge into a giant shadow. Calm people experience the same feelings. Their hearts speed up too. Their bodies tense as well. But they do something different with their thoughts. They slow them down. They understand that the mind cannot think clearly while moving too fast. They know that clarity exists only in slowness, not in panic. So they intentionally shift into slow thinking, even when everything inside them wants to rush. Slow thinking is not about thinking less. It is about thinking deliberately. Calm people speak to themselves in a soft, steady mental voice, as if comforting a stressed friend. Slow down. Look at the facts. What is really happening right now? They ask themselves simple grounding questions. What is the real situation? What is in my control? What is the very first step I need to take? What can wait until later? These questions interrupt the storm. They create mental space. They give the brain clarity. When the mind slows down, fear loses its speed. When fear loses its speed, it loses its strength. Slow thinking also reveals solutions that fast thinking hides. In a calm state, you can see what is important and what is just noise. You can separate imagination from reality. You can focus on actions instead of fears. This shift has a powerful effect on your decisions. When you think slowly, you choose wisely. When you choose wisely, you begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, confidence rises naturally. Pressure cannot control someone who trusts their ability to respond. Calmness is not the absence of thoughts. Calmness is the organization of thoughts. It is the ability to guide your mind gently instead of letting it run wild. In a moment of pressure, the person who thinks slowly becomes the person who stays strong. Slow thinking is your anchor. It is your shield. It is the tool that turns chaos into clarity. Chapter 4. Your body language shapes your emotions. Most people think emotions begin in the mind and then move into the body. They believe the mind feels fear first, and then the body starts to shake. They believe the mind feels stress first, and then the shoulders become tight. But the truth is more balanced, more complex, and more fascinating. Your mind influences your body, yes, but your body also influences your mind just as strongly. The two are connected in an endless loop, constantly sending signals to each other. And this means one simple thing. If you can change your body, you can change your emotions. Think about what happens when someone becomes stressed. Their shoulders rise instinctively, almost like the body is trying to protect the heart. Their neck becomes stiff, their spine curves forward, and their breathing becomes shallow and quick. Their legs feel restless, their chest feels tight, and their hands may tremble slightly. They look smaller, closed, and defensive. All of this sends a message back to the brain. Something is wrong. You are in danger. The brain responds by increasing stress hormones, which make the body even more tense. This cycle continues, creating a spiral of anxiety. Calm people break this spiral through intentional body language. They adjust their posture in small but powerful ways. They raise their chest gently, creating more space for air. They drop their shoulders down and back, signaling openness and safety. They relax their jaw, which quietly tells the brain, there is no threat here. They breathe slowly into their belly, allowing the diaphragm to move freely. They stand or sit tall, not with stiffness, but with grounded confidence. Their movements are slower, smoother, and more deliberate. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is chaotic. This becomes a message to the mind. You are safe. You are stable. You are in control. Within minutes, the mind begins to match the body's message. The heartbeat slows. The breath deepens. The stressful thoughts lose their speed and intensity. A sense of grounded calm begins to rise from the inside. This is not imagination. This is physiology. Your posture changes your hormones. Your breathing changes your nervous system. Your movements change your mental state. You do not need to wait for courage before standing confidently. You do not need to wait for calmness before breathing calmly. You can create the emotion by performing the action first. This is one of the great secrets of calm people. They don't wait to feel calm. They behave calmly. Their body becomes the teacher, and their mind becomes the student. And slowly, the student learns. Chapter 5. The Secret of Mental Distance. Pressure always feels heaviest when it feels personal. When your mind whispers, "If I fail, everything will fall apart," the pressure wraps around your chest like a tight rope. When you think, "Everyone will judge me," your confidence shrinks. When you tell yourself, "I cannot make a mistake," even the smallest task becomes a mountain. Pressure becomes heavier not because the situation is big, but because your mind is too close to it. The closer you stand to a problem, the more threatening it feels. Calm people understand this psychology, and they use a powerful technique to regain control: mental distance. Mental distance means stepping back inside your mind. It means looking at the situation not from your emotions, but from a higher, more logical point of view. One of the simplest ways to create this distance is by changing the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "I'm scared," calm people say, "You're feeling pressure, but you can handle it." Speaking in the third person may sound strange, but scientists have discovered that this small shift immediately reduces emotional intensity. It is like becoming your own coach instead of your own critic. When you call yourself you, your mind responds as if someone supportive is guiding you through the moment. Another powerful form of mental distance is the practice of zooming out. Imagine yourself from above, like you are watching a scene in a movie. You see the room, the people, the situation, and you see yourself standing in the middle of it. Suddenly, the problem looks smaller. It becomes one moment inside a much larger story. Your emotions soften because you are no longer trapped inside the problem. You are observing it from the outside, where logic is stronger than fear. Zooming out also reminds you that the moment you're facing is temporary. This exam, this conversation, this performance, this challenge, it is only one small event in your entire life. When you see it from a distance, You remember that you have faced hard things before and survived. You remember that pressure is not a monster. It is simply a feeling. And feelings change. When you create mental distance, pressure loses its power. Your heartbeat slows. Your thoughts become clearer. Your fear becomes manageable. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. You are no longer drowning inside the moment. You are standing above it, guiding yourself with calm, strength, and clarity. Mental distance doesn't remove the challenge, but it removes the fear wrapped around it. And once the fear dissolves, you can face anything with balance. Chapter 6. Focusing on the next action. Pressure becomes overwhelming when the mind tries to look at everything at the same time. The brain starts imagining a long list of tasks, responsibilities, expectations, and possible outcomes. In a single moment, it jumps from one fear to another. What if I make a mistake? What if everything goes wrong? What if people think badly of me? What if I fail? These thoughts create a mental storm. The storm makes even simple tasks feel impossible. You feel frozen, confused, and disconnected from your own abilities. This is how pressure grows, through stories, not facts. Calm people interrupt this storm. They do not allow their mind to wander into the future or drown in fear. Instead, they bring their attention back to the present moment. They ask themselves one simple question: what is my next small action? This question is powerful because it breaks the heavy story in the mind. It removes the huge picture and replaces it with one clear step. If someone is giving a presentation, the next action is not finish the entire speech perfectly. The next action is simply say the next sentence. If someone is preparing for an exam, the next action is not remember everything I studied. It is read the next question and understand it. If someone is facing a conflict, the next action is not solve the whole problem. It is take a breath and speak the next calm sentence. When you reduce a big moment into a small, immediate step, the pressure becomes lighter. The brain feels less fear because it is not being asked to handle everything at once. The human nervous system can only focus on one action at a time. When you respect this natural limit, your mind becomes clearer, your body becomes calmer, and your confidence begins to return. The moment you take one small step, you create momentum. That momentum gives you courage for the next step. One calm action leads to another, and slowly the entire situation becomes manageable. Calmness is not the total absence of stress. Calmness is the ability to stay grounded inside a stressful moment. It is the skill of not allowing the mind to run into the future. It is the discipline of staying connected to the next action instead of the next fear. When you commit to taking one small step at a time, pressure loses its power. You regain control, you regain clarity, and you discover that even the biggest challenges can be conquered by a series of small, steady actions. Chapter 7. Training your mind before pressure arrives. You cannot wait for pressure to arrive and then hope that calmness will magically appear. Calmness is not something that shows up at the last moment. Calmness is something you build long before the stressful situation comes. Just like athletes prepare for competitions, pilots prepare for flights, and musicians prepare for performances, you must also prepare your mind and body for moments of intensity. If you want to stay calm when it matters most, you must train yourself when things are still quiet. One of the most powerful techniques is called stress simulation. This means practicing the exact situation that normally makes you nervous, but in a safe and controlled environment. If presentations make your voice shake, stand in front of a mirror and speak your words. Record yourself on camera and watch it back. Speak in front of one trusted friend. Each time you repeat the experience, your brain becomes more familiar with the feeling. What once felt dangerous begins to feel normal. The fear loses its edge, and your confidence grows naturally without forcing it. If difficult conversations make you anxious, prepare your words before the real moment arrives. Say the sentences out loud. Practice your tone. Imagine the situation and rehearse your response. The more you rehearse, the more your mind understands. I know what to do. This replaces fear with readiness. Another powerful method is cold exposure, something as simple as a cold shower or splashing cold water on your face. The shock of cold teaches your body how to relax even in discomfort. At first, your breath becomes sharp and fast. But as you learn to slow your breathing while standing in the cold, you train your nervous system to stay steady during stress. You learn that discomfort does not control you. This skill becomes extremely valuable in real moments of pressure. Calm people are not immune to stress. They are simply familiar with it. They have trained with it. They recognize the feeling the way a swimmer recognizes the taste of salt water. The more you encounter discomfort during training, the less power it has over you in reality. When you practice stress, your mind learns that the body's reactions, the fast heartbeat, the warm hands, the tight chest, are not signs of danger. They are simply signals. They are sensations you have felt before, sensations you know how to handle. And because you have trained, these sensations no longer shock you. This preparation transforms pressure from something frightening into something manageable. Calmness becomes your natural reaction, not because you avoid stress, but because you have mastered the art of meeting it long before it arrives. Chapter 8. Mastering the Zone of Control. Pressure becomes unbearable when we try to control what is simply uncontrollable. Most people waste energy thinking about outcomes they cannot change. What others might say, how circumstances might turn out, or how events from the past could have been different. This constant mental tug-of-war with reality creates tension, frustration, and fear. The more we resist what we cannot control, the more trapped we feel. Calmness, on the other hand, comes from mastering the distinction between what we can influence and what we cannot. The moment you accept that some things are beyond your reach, you lighten your mental load. You stop wasting energy on imagined problems, and your mind gains clarity, focus, and resilience. Calm people instinctively focus on the zone of control, the area where their actions, words, and decisions matter. They prepare thoroughly, adjust their attitude, plan their next steps and put maximum effort into what is actionable. They do not pretend that everything will go perfectly, but they focus on what they can do to perform well, improve outcomes, and respond effectively. For example, if you are giving a presentation, you cannot control how the audience will react, but you can control your preparation, your tone of voice, your body language, and your choice of words. By investing energy only in these factors, calmness emerges naturally. Learning to focus on the controllable also strengthens confidence. When you know you are doing everything you can within your sphere of influence, fear and doubt begin to lose their power. Anxiety diminishes because you are not fighting reality. You are acting wisely within it. Letting go of the uncontrollable does not mean apathy or surrender. It means strategic focus. You conserve energy, gain mental clarity, and take action where it matters most. This mindset applies not only to small tasks, but also to life's big challenges. You cannot control the outcome of a job interview, the economy, or someone else's decisions. But you can control your preparation, your attitude, and your effort. By mastering this mental discipline, you create a steady foundation under pressure. You learn that calmness is not about changing the world around you. It is about controlling yourself within it. And this understanding, this mastery of your zone of control, is a cornerstone of true inner peace and unwavering calm under any pressure. Chapter 9. The Philosophy of Acceptance. There is a psychological principle that almost every calm and composed person follows without realizing it. Acceptance. At first, acceptance can be misunderstood. Many people think acceptance is surrender, giving up, or admitting defeat. But true acceptance is very different. Acceptance is the act of recognizing reality exactly as it is, without judgment, without resistance, and without unnecessary struggle. It is the moment when you stop fighting your own feelings and start using them wisely. Acceptance does not remove stress or fear, but it transforms how these emotions affect you. When you stop resisting the way you feel, your mind and body are free to act instead of react. Consider this. If you feel nervous before a presentation, most people try to push it away, telling themselves, "I should not be nervous," or "I cannot feel this way." The more they resist, the stronger the nervousness becomes. Fighting your emotions is like trying to swim upstream in a powerful river. It drains energy and increases tension. Calm people, in contrast, notice the nervousness, acknowledge it, and say internally, "I feel nervous, and that is okay. I can still perform well." By accepting the feeling instead of fighting it, they reduce its intensity almost immediately. The pressure no longer dominates them because their energy is redirected toward action, not resistance. Acceptance also applies to situations, not just feelings. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Plans fail, people behave unpredictably, and unexpected challenges arise. Calm people do not waste energy wishing things were different. They observe the reality, assess the circumstances, and decide how to respond effectively. They say, "This is how it is, and I will work with it." This mindset is not resignation. It is empowerment. By facing reality head-on, they regain control over their thoughts, actions, and decisions. Emotional freedom emerges from acceptance. When you stop fighting your own internal state, fear and stress lose their power. You no longer let emotions dictate your actions. Instead, you flow with the moment, acting with clarity and composure. Those who break under pressure are not weaker than others. They simply resist their own emotions and reality. Calm people, on the other hand, allow themselves to feel fully, yet act intentionally. Acceptance transforms pressure from an enemy into a partner, creating space for clarity, confidence, and steady performance under any circumstance. Chapter 10. The Power of Internal Language. The words we speak to ourselves in our minds have incredible power. They shape how we feel, how we act, and how we respond to pressure. Most people are unaware of this, allowing a constant stream of negative thoughts to control their emotions. When pressure arises, they think, "This is too much. I can't handle it. I'll fail." Each of these thoughts acts like fuel for anxiety, amplifying fear, tension, and self-doubt. The more negative language you use internally, the more your body reacts as if the danger is real. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, your mind spirals, and the situation feels overwhelming. In short, words inside your mind can either magnify the storm or calm it. Calm people understand the power of their internal dialogue. They deliberately choose words that support, guide, and motivate them. They speak to themselves like a compassionate, wise coach rather than a harsh critic. They replace judgment and fear with encouragement and clarity. Simple, strong statements are their tools. "I can handle this" reminds them of their capability. One step at a time helps them focus on immediate actions instead of overwhelming outcomes. "I am prepared" reinforces confidence and readiness. "Breathe first, act second" signals the mind to pause and regain composure before reacting. This is temporary, allows perspective, and reduces panic. "You know what to do" strengthens trust in one's own knowledge and skills. Internal language is not just about repeating phrases, it is about creating a mindset. When you consistently speak to yourself with strength, your body mirrors that strength. Your nervous system relaxes, your mind sharpens, and your actions become deliberate instead of reactive. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, making calmness the default response in high-pressure situations. The more you use supportive internal language, the more naturally you stay composed, confident, and in control. By mastering internal language, you gain a tool that is always with you, in every situation, no matter where you are. You can face exams, presentations, conflicts, or unexpected challenges with a mind trained to guide, not panic. Your words shape your reality. Speak wisely, speak calmly, and your mind and body will follow. This mastery is not a quick trick. It is a lifelong habit that transforms pressure from an enemy into a source of energy, focus, and clarity. Chapter 11. Building a Calm Identity. Calmness is not just a response, it can become a defining part of who you are. Most people approach pressure with hope. "I hope I stay calm," "I hope I don't panic," or "I hope I perform well." Hope is fragile. It depends on circumstances and luck. Calm people, however, approach pressure with identity. They say, "I am someone who remains calm under pressure." This small shift in self-perception changes everything. It transforms calmness from a temporary reaction into a stable, consistent part of your behavior. Identity shapes actions. When you see yourself as calm, your mind naturally looks for ways to act in alignment with that identity. You adjust your posture, slow your breathing, and focus on the next action, not because you are forcing it, but because it feels natural for the person you are. Over time, these actions reinforce the identity. Acting calmly strengthens the belief that you are calm, and believing you are calm strengthens the actions you take. This feedback loop creates consistency. Calmness stops being an effort. It becomes instinctive. The way others perceive you also strengthens your calm identity. People naturally respond to calm energy. If you behave calmly in tense situations, others see you as composed and capable. Their reactions, trust, respect, and confidence feed back into your own sense of self, further cementing your calm identity. Your calmness becomes not just how you handle pressure, but how the world experiences you. Building a calm identity also creates resilience. When challenges arise, your sense of self reminds you who you are. You don't rely on temporary motivation or fleeting willpower. Calmness is no longer something you try to achieve. It is a natural part of how you think, feel, and act. It becomes your personality, your habit, and your automatic response. The more consistently you embody this identity, the easier it becomes to remain composed, focused, and effective in every high-pressure moment. Ultimately, calmness is not just a skill, it is a personal statement. It is who you are at your core. By committing to this identity, you transform pressure from a threat into an opportunity to express the strongest version of yourself. Chapter 12. The Calmness Loop. When you begin to combine all the techniques of calmness, controlled breathing, slow thinking, confident body language, positive internal language, and acceptance, a powerful loop begins to form. This is what can be called the calmness loop. Calm breathing leads to clear thinking. Clear thinking leads to steady body language. Steady body language leads to confident action. Confident action leads to positive results. Positive results strengthen your calm identity, and a stronger calm identity makes it easier to breathe, think, and act calmly again. Each step reinforces the next, creating a self-sustaining cycle that grows stronger with practice. The beauty of the calmness loop is that it turns pressure into practice. Every stressful moment becomes a training ground. When you face a presentation, an exam, a difficult conversation, or an unexpected challenge, you are not just surviving, you are strengthening the loop. Each time you consciously breathe, think clearly, and act intentionally under pressure, you reinforce your neural pathways, making calmness more automatic and natural. Over time, what once felt impossible or terrifying becomes manageable and even familiar. The calmness loop also transforms your mindset. Instead of seeing pressure as a threat, you begin to see it as an opportunity to practice your skills, test your preparation, and grow stronger. Stress no longer drains you, it energizes you. You start to notice that calmness is not something you try to achieve in the moment. It is a state you cultivate long before the challenge appears, and it becomes increasingly natural each time you exercise the loop. Eventually, calmness shifts from being a technique to being your identity. You no longer need to consciously think about each step. Breathing, thinking, acting, and responding calmly become instinctive. Pressure stops controlling you because you are in control of your mind, body, and actions. The calmness loop is more than a process. It is a lifestyle, a rhythm, and a habit that allows you to remain steady, confident, and effective no matter the situation. The loop ensures that with each challenge, you do not just survive, you thrive. Calmness becomes who you are, and pressure becomes the stage where your strength shines. Chapter 13. Real-Life Applications. The techniques of calmness are powerful, but they become truly effective when applied in real-life situations. Understanding how to use them in moments that matter most allows you to transform pressure into clarity and control. Here are some practical examples of staying calm under pressure. 1. During exams. Exams are a classic example of pressure that can overwhelm even the best prepared minds. To stay calm, begin by slowing your breath and centering your attention. Read each question carefully, without rushing. Break the question into small, manageable parts and focus on completing one task at a time. By giving your brain a single, clear task instead of overwhelming it with the entire exam at once, pressure naturally dissipates. Calm, deliberate action replaces panic, and clarity emerges. 2. During job interviews. Job interviews often feel high stakes, where every answer seems scrutinized. To remain composed, relax your shoulders and inhale deeply before speaking. Slow your speech slightly and focus on delivering one idea at a time. Calm speech creates calm thinking, allowing your mind to process questions clearly and respond thoughtfully. Each measured sentence strengthens your presence and signals confidence, both to yourself and to the interviewer. 3. During conflict. Conflicts, whether personal or professional, can quickly escalate emotions. Calm people pause before reacting. They allow their bodies to settle, slowing their heart rate and tension, and they choose words deliberately. Speaking slowly and intentionally prevents emotions from controlling actions. This approach not only reduces misunderstandings, but also earns respect, because others recognize the composure and self-control behind every response. 4. During presentations. Public speaking often triggers intense pressure. Preparation is key. Practice before the event, visualize the room, and imagine yourself delivering each part confidently. Backstage or before stepping onto the stage, take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Focus on delivering the next sentence rather than thinking about the entire speech at once. This step-by-step focus allows calmness to guide your performance. 5. In emergency situations. Emergencies demand immediate, effective action. In these moments, breathe slowly and keep your sentences short and clear. Prioritize immediate actions rather than panicking over potential outcomes. Calmness becomes leadership, enabling you to think clearly, direct others effectively, and act decisively. In all of these situations, the techniques of calm breathing, focused thinking, and intentional action turn pressure into an opportunity for control, clarity, and strength. Chapter 14. The calm mindset for life. Life will never be free from pressure. Challenges will appear when you least expect them. Deadlines will loom. Responsibilities will pile up. Relationships will test your patience, and unexpected events will push you to your limits. No one can escape these moments, and no amount of planning can completely prevent them. But the difference lies in how you respond. With the right tools and mindset, you can face every challenge with clarity, confidence, and strength. Calmness is not about avoiding pressure or pretending it does not exist. It is about learning to rise above it, to remain steady when everything around you feels chaotic. A calm mindset allows you to think clearly when others panic. While the world seems to rush and collapse under stress, you can observe, analyze, and choose your actions carefully. It allows you to act wisely when others freeze, making deliberate decisions that lead to better outcomes. It keeps you grounded when others lose their balance, providing a stable anchor not just for yourself, but often for those around you. Calmness is not a lack of emotion, it is mastery over your emotions. It is the ability to experience fear, pressure, or tension without letting them dictate your behavior. The power of calmness is not in avoiding the storm, but in knowing how to stand in the middle of it without shaking. It is in breathing steadily while chaos swirls around you, thinking clearly while uncertainty rages, and acting decisively while doubt and fear rise. This mindset transforms challenges into opportunities. Pressure becomes a signal, a guide, and even a source of energy rather than a burden. By cultivating calmness through practice, intention, and self-awareness, you gradually become the person who remains composed in every high-pressure moment. This is not just a skill for specific situations, it is a mindset for life. With these tools, strategies, and habits, you can navigate the storms of life with resilience, confidence, and unwavering poise. You can become someone who is steady, strong, and unshakable, no matter what challenges come your way. Final message: you can train calmness. You were not born calm, and you were not born uncalm. You were not born confident, and you were not born fearful. Calmness and confidence are not gifts handed down to a few lucky people. They are trained abilities, cultivated through practice, awareness, and intention. Every moment of pressure, every challenge, every situation that tests your nerves is not something to fear. It is an opportunity. An opportunity to practice the skills that turn stress into clarity, fear into focus, and chaos into controlled action. When you learn to breathe correctly under pressure, your nervous system signals safety and control. When you think slowly, even in fast-moving situations, your mind gains clarity and perspective. When you use your body language intentionally, you tell yourself and the world that you are steady and in command. When you create mental distance from overwhelming emotions, you reduce their power and see solutions more clearly. When you focus on the next small action instead of the entire problem, pressure shrinks and control grows. And when you build your calm identity, truly believing that you are someone who remains composed in any situation, calmness becomes instinctive, not effortful. The storms of life do not break you. They reveal your strength. Each challenge you face and each stressful moment you navigate with awareness strengthens the foundation of calmness within you. Calmness is not merely a skill, It is a path to personal power, clarity, and resilience. From this moment onward, that power is yours to develop, nurture, and carry into every situation. The choice is simple. Let pressure control you, or train yourself to rise above it. Calmness is your path, and with consistent practice, it is a path you can master.